now, here are your hosts, Janet Hickox and Roger Wetzel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Empower You. My name is Janet Hickox. I'm one of your hosts today. Along beside me here is Roger Wetzel. Hello, Roger.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And you know, this is hysterical because we both have the same backgrounds.
Yes.
It's a little bit different colored, probably because of the lighting in my room, but we are not in the same place. Many people ask me that question. Are you and Roger in the same place?
Are you sure?
Well, we're both on islands, that's to be sure. But we're not on the same island or in the same office. I have a dog at my feet. I know that I'm not in Roger's office then, right?
That's very true.
Yeah, so welcome everybody to 2016 and the beginning of our Empower You shows for this year. Today we have with us Toni Luisa Rivera, Doctor of Chiropractic, Certified Rubenfeld Synergist, author, and workshop facilitator. Dr. Toni discovered the vital role body, mind, and spirit and emotions play in healing while attending to the many people seeking her care. And by the way, this was in Puerto Rico. And she's here today to talk to us about her new book, The Propelled Heart, right here. Beautiful cover, by the way, Toni. And thank you so much for being here with us today. And
yes, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. And tell us a little more about you. Since I didn't read your whole entire bio, just give us some more tidbits about who you are and how you got to be where you are.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. And I was very excited to be here with you all. I am, as you mentioned, I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I've been in practice for 30 years. And very early on, I always was interested in the body, and I believed in its ability to heal itself from a very young age. And chiropractic, when I discovered chiropractic quite by accident, as is mentioned in my book, I knew I was born to be a chiropractor. The first class, the philosophy, the body heals itself. I said, I was born for this. And returning to where I had grown up in Puerto Rico, and having that first practice where I was fortunate enough to be the only chiropractor on that end of the island. I saw many, many people, and in seeing so many people and seeing cases that chiropractors usually don't see, I discovered that, oh my goodness, what people are thinking and feeling and the happenings in their life are really causing or affecting their physical ailments. So I began to study, and in discovering Alana Rubenfeld and the Rubenfeld Synergy Method, I found a way to help people become aware and access the information, the wisdom of their body. And that has been my quest ever since, really combining. Many times people come to me for pain, but we want to get what is the message, not just eradicate the pain and have it move somewhere else. What's your body trying to tell you?
As in your words, you say that the body has wisdom. And yes, we're seeking to tap into that wisdom in order to see a bigger picture of what's going on with us.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because the body, the body is eavesdropping, if you will, on our every thought and has a distinct voice and opinion about our life. And it's trying to talk to us all the time. And the language of the body is symptoms, sensation rather. And so many times when there is a recurring sensation, there's a message your body really thinks you need to have and is tapping us on the shoulder, if you will, through those sensations, trying to get our attention. So we want to listen and hear, not just get the pain to go away.
Right, which is what a lot of things are happening right now with doctors. When you go to a doctor, they're just throwing pills or tests at symptoms, instead of getting to the underlying cause and purpose of whatever the pain is or the physical ailment. So this is really kind of profound in the way that we can approach healing.
It's so true. Pain actually is a gift, because pain is a way for our body to let us know when something's really wrong. When something really hurts, we need to pay attention. If it's like if the house was burning down and somebody's banging on your door saying, hey, there's a fire, you wouldn't tell them to be quiet and go away. You want to know, thank you for telling me the house is on fire.
Saving my life.
Right. So the body will have severity of symptoms depending many times on the severity of the situation in the body or around the body in your life.
Right, right.
So I have a question. How do you interpret what your body's trying to tell you?
Oh, that's
and maybe we're jumping ahead here, but
Well, that's the number one thing. And many times our first instinct, because we live in our head so much, is to try to figure out why. Why does it hurt? And we look for outside causes. And the number one thing to hear the body's message is first just to slow down and notice what it feels like. Okay, there's a pain. What kind of pain? Is it pinching, burning, stinging, etc.? So seeing again, some people are very visual. So is there a color or a shape? Does it remind you of something or someone? So in that kind of going to a more slowed down, calm state and tuning in, breathing into the pain and listening to it, and then acknowledging it. I know you're feeling pinched and red right now. And in that quiet moment, many times right there, intuitively, a message will enter. Sometimes in words or a realization. You might see something in your life or remember somebody and say, that's what it is. So there's your first steps right there.
It's perfect. So tell us, what is the Propelled Heart? The name of the book is The Propelled Heart. And tell us, what is the Propelled Heart?
Well, the Propelled Heart it's a phrase, it's a term that one of my spiritual teachers used to signify when a person becomes interested in learning from their life instead of being just, why me, or this always happens to me, or they hurt me, beginning to look at what might I learn from this? What is life trying to teach me? So the Propelled Heart is trying to learn from your life and your experiences.
Nice.
So that's nice. Yeah.
So you wrote about forgotten childhood sexual abuse in the very beginning of the book. That was part of the beginning. And we all know that this kind of abuse is often stored in the body. So how did you remember this was happening? Or that this happened?
Yeah, it was really an interesting thing, because when I started to get involved with Rubenfeld Synergy, it was totally to help other people. I thought, well, I need to learn how to help other people become aware and see how their mental, emotional state is affecting their physical health. I didn't think about myself. And one of the requirements is that you receive the treatment, the Rubenfeld Synergy, which is really an exploration, not a treatment. And as I started receiving the Rubenfeld Synergy sessions, I started realizing that I did not have much awareness in my own body. And when people first would touch me, like someone would touch my arm and say, what are you aware of? Anywhere in my body, it felt like a thin layer of rock and nothing inside. And then my synergist started noting, well, gee, especially when I touch your face, you stop breathing. What's happening for you? And then as I started to become aware of what touch was like for me, little memories started coming, like right when I would first wake up in the morning or in a session. Actually, I'd get little snippets here and there, little pictures. And it actually took years to put it all together and to make sense of it and to verify with my parents and,
Yeah, because you share in the book that this was something that was very painful. And it wasn't so much the abuse that was painful, but it was your mother's response to it, or your response to you. So,
yes. Well,
yeah, tell us a little more about that.
Well, that's one of the reasons I started with the closet is the first chapter. That was one of my first memories, was being in the closet and stifling tears, the squeezing of my throat, the upset, the vows I made to myself. I will never let anybody know anything about me anymore. I will do everything. I'm going to grow up now. And this is at 4 years old. I'm going to be a grown up. I don't need them. And I didn't know why I was in there. What was happening? And then later, after I started remembering the abuse, came the memory of, right before the closet was that I actually told my mom what had happened and what had been happening. And her reaction, she got hysterical. And she never told me that it wasn't my fault. And you know how children are. Children really feel everything's about them. And when I saw her get upset, I was like, oh my God, I wasn't supposed to tell. And this is why. Because when you tell, she got upset. I hurt her. I'm bad. I'm wrong. And really, it was probably about 5 years ago. My mom's been gone for a while. I sat down with my dad and I had the long talk about everything that had happened. And he didn't realize it was happening at the time. She didn't tell him. But I got him to realize, I said, well, this happened and and he started putting it together. Oh, that's what happened. And I got him to tell me, I need you to tell me, Dad, that was not my fault and that I didn't do anything wrong. And that was a big part of my healing. I was lucky enough to have one parent still there, and he was able to be with me and hold my hand and say, honey, you didn't do anything wrong. And, so imagine in my 50s, I finally got to address that.
So you start with this in the book. What was going on in your body that made you really look at this as a problem? What was going on in the physical part of you that made you want to look at this?
Well, like I say, it kind of emerged. I never thought that being a workaholic was a symptom of trying to bury feelings. But then when I moved back to the States, I moved to Santa Fe and I started taking the Rubenfeld Synergy training. And my life, I started talking about what I did. And, oh, yeah, I see like 70 people a day and 350 people a week. And, I work 12-hour days. And people were like, are you crazy? Why? And then I started looking at, oh, maybe I'm doing that for a reason. And that's when as in the book, I talk about our life really is also speaking to us, how we live our life. When you have and I had a startle response kind of thing, and I didn't think of that. Or if, let's say, even a dear friend that I loved, if they walked, I knew they're in the room, and they'd walk up and maybe put their arm around my shoulder. I had a response to that of like, what do they want from me? Or what are they going to do next? Which came from the childhood experience of being expected to perform things you don't want to do, So it really came as a surprise to me that was what had happened to me, because it all stopped when I was around 4 or 5 years old. And I just, as a protection, buried it, which many people do.
It's really interesting. I have a thing that happens to me. Mm-hmm. And I know the cause. When anybody comes up to me and touches me from behind and I'm not aware of it, I will jump. And it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't happen all of the time, but there's just certain times when I'm touched from behind. It was like, what are you doing? And I know that it's from when I was a kid, and, probably my dad would come up and like smack me from behind or whatever it is. But I still have that. I mean, and it could happen, and it could happen tomorrow if somebody comes up and just touches me from behind.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a really good point then, Toni. If something like what Roger's describing is, and same thing with you, someone's in the room and if they touch you, the response, how do we heal that within ourselves then? How do we work with that energy so that we're not startled by somebody touching us from behind?
And before you answer that, we need to take a break.
Okay.
So we'll be right back and you can answer that question.
Thank you.